All right, welcome back to another exciting episode of Organized Minds. You know, many people say it was organized crime, but no, this is Organized Minds. And
we disorganized, I'm not sure.
We have our producer with us. Natanya stepped in, and she's going to help. We're going to be relaunching our show. We've had a few things take place, Mike, and you actually showed up last studio session, right on time to become the relief pitcher on the day you were the relief pitcher.
Didn't even know what he was signing up for.
But now you've become part of the starting rotation here.
Yes.
Okay, so
lineup.
Mike Palazzo, you're now officially a member of the team. You know, you're no longer a valued guest.
Yes.
Okay, so people are going to ask, how did this come about? So I'm going to give you the floor for a moment. So people get to hear your voice, not mine.
Okay.
So what happened?
So
initially,
obviously, I was a cop for 22 years in Nassau County. It's a little suburb, not a suburb, but it's a county in Long Island. So me and Mike had met through a mutual friend, and we had careers where I did my job and got punished for it, and Mike did sort of his job, but went a little veered the other way. So like a good cop, bad cop thing. But we had the same feelings towards the job with certain things. And we clicked and set off a great friendship. A lot of people that I worked with couldn't believe I was friends with Mike. They didn't like it. They didn't talk to me anymore. But I really didn't give a shit. Doesn't matter to me because I don't care about people's opinions. Right, Mike? How many people would message me? How could you? And the same thing with you. They would say.
Yeah, they say. Yeah. I don't get that much as you would get from me, but I get people saying, "How can you talk to that Palazzo because he locked up a cop's mother or something like that, or whatever kind of silly story it was?" I'm like, "Okay, take it easy. There's a story behind everything, and you probably don't know the whole story." Is what I would say to people.
There's always another side to a story.
Yeah.
We know that.
So Mike and I, we became fast friends. We both liked a lot of the same things. We both had the same attitude, pretty much.
Yeah.
Towards life in general.
Yeah.
We're doers.
Yeah.
If
like to help people.
Yeah, we help people. In fact, I got a list I keep forgetting. Every night I go down the list of who owes me. Who owes me? Because no one calls me. I have to call them. Isn't that strange?
Yeah. Oh, they need something, they call.
Yeah, when the phone rings, I go, what do they need? Anyway, so back to the reality show here. Mike and I became fast friends. Mike's a bit younger than me, but you knew of my career through, I guess, news?
Yeah.
Did you not?
Since I was a kid, yes.
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, you heard about it.
I heard about it. I heard a lot of things.
What was your...
I was probably the only one who hadn't heard about you before you were on my roster.
Probably. Yeah, well, you guys are in a different... you're in a different...
But everyone's heard about Mike.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
In some way. So, but Mike, tell the audience when you saw my follies on the front pages of the newspaper.
Well, I was a kid. I was in...
you weren't even on the job yet.
I wasn't even on the job.
Oh, my goodness.
Let's see. I think I was in 8th grade.
Oh, my God.
Or getting into high school. And even at that age, I didn't know a lot about the department, but I remember the story. And I remember, I said... that guy might be fucked. That was the first thing I thought.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, he might be fucked. But even then, being from Queens, even as a kid growing up, the guys that hanged around, even at that age, I said, this guy, he got caught. And it's been going on for probably years.
Yeah.
And this is the guy who got caught because he got too comfortable.
Right.
And he knew that as a kid. And my father said the same thing.
Yeah.
My father worked.
Yeah, I know your father's a great man. Your father's a wonderful man.
But it's...
So the odd thing is this: people would say, "How could you sit next to this dirty, smelly, rogue individual?"
You don't smell.
No, thankfully.
We won't talk about what just happened.
Yeah, that's a different story.
Rolling.
That's milk product.
Yeah, Mike's lactose intolerant.
Yes. So Mike, you and I decided one day we're going to do a podcast.
Yes.
And what happened?
After our travels around the world.
Yes. We did a lot of traveling together.
Yes.
We met a lot of people. Miami, the whole bit, the whole East Coast and some of the West Coast. Yes. Yep. We did a lot of...
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Yes, we did a lot of things together. We had a lot of fun, too.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of adventures. Yeah. And then we came back to Long Island, and you got us invited on a show by someone with a kidney thing.
I got us invited on a show. I used to promote, manage certain rappers and stuff, music business.
Right.
So what we did was they had started a radio show and they asked us to go on the show. So we went on the show. I think we did 1 or 2 shows that day.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
2.
and it was a radio station, and it went really good, and they wanted to have us back. And then the guy that was the producer said, "You guys are great. It's a great team. I love it. I want you to give your own slot, your own time, your own show." So shit, as soon as he called me, I called Mike. I'm like, "This guy's gonna give us our own show.
We got it.
Radio.
Real radio.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Real
like-
radio, Mike. Wait, stop.
Real radio.
Real radio.
Which, by the
Like-
way, we have to scrub your curses out. So just, if possible, we'll do less. But
So it's
because
you know.
we're also on the radio.
So he said, "We're gonna be on the radio." It would be like, now I'll date myself a little. WKRP in Cincinnati.
WKRP in
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
We got them right here.
So we're
here
like,
she is, Miss Cincinnati.
All right, I'll figure it out what days we're gonna have the show, the
Cornbread.
times. So I don't hear from this guy for like 2 or 3 weeks. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I call the girl, and yeah, the guy had a heart attack and died. So it was just all luck, I guess, at that point. It's a shame the guy died, nice guy. But they went to the radio show for that.
Right.
But after that happened, Mike, we had a long journey after that. What happened next was
A few
COVID.
weeks. Well, no, COVID was before that, right? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, COVID was before that.
No, it wasn't.
Well, because my kidney issue was a couple weeks later, and the COVID happened before that. That's how I got COVID. That's why the kidney failed. I got it a couple of times.
Well, either way,
Either way,
a series of unfortunate events
Yes.
transpired such that the podcast never really came to life.
Yes, never
The
came to life.
podcast never came to life.
So we'll go to
Right.
now. The next thing was a pretty major thing was COVID, kidney failure,
Right.
Hot.
heart.
So yes.
Zipper.
So then what happened, Mike?
Then a few weeks after that show.
Well, wait, no, just pause. I'm sorry. Because after we knew that we were successful, that we had a very
There
good...
was a few things. There was that, and then I did Soft White Underbelly.
Yes.
I did Kevin's show. And there was a lot of things. And I got a lot of response to it. I got a lot of messages on it, and people liked the content.
Yes.
Right.
So Mike and I were going to find another way to start it up, maybe even join Kevin's network, which was
Something.
we were going
Right.
to do something, or find something in Ronkonkoma. There's a couple of
Right, studios.
podcast studios that we could easily join. Mike and I could have joined, but then boom.
I get hit with. I had a transplant years ago. I had got COVID a couple of times. The transplant was going great. It was like 14 years I had it, and basically COVID killed the kidney in like 6 months. So right after that radio show, I was feeling crappy that day.
Yes,
if you remember.
but you've been getting cold. You were getting
Yeah,
cold.
I was getting cold
a
all
lot.
the time.
Yeah.
Cold, nauseous, and I kind of knew what was going on. And a couple weeks after that, I was in the hospital, and it was a kidney failure on dialysis.
Okay, and then what happened when you went on dialysis?
So it was like a nightmare, to be honest. Dialysis, if you ever had somebody on it or watched somebody on it, it should be added to the UN list of tortures. That's the best I could describe
I
it.
think of how many people drive by, how many DaVita dialysis centers or
Oh,
other.
I just had this conversation with my friend Kevin that every time I drive by, in the car I had it on the way here, every time I drive by a dialysis center, I feel like I have PTSD.
Yeah, you have
My
a little
heart
twinge.
races.
Yeah.
Seriously, I get
Jesus.
almost tears in my eyes.
I've heard that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether it's with
You get-
kidney
till
or
you've been
chemo
there.
or what it.
Well, I can't.
My mom, who's an ER nurse, the other day told me she still has dreams of it. She was an ER nurse. She was an OR nurse, surgical nurse, cardiac cath nurse in North Shore. And she said she never realized she'd get patients through dialysis. She said, "But how bad can it be?" Till she watched me on it and watched me on the machine, watched me come home and how I felt, what I went through. And she said it turned her whole theory of it around. So.
Wow.
It isn't just a ICD-10 code that you write.
Yeah.
Go dialysis, right?
It's someone's body.
Yeah.
And Mike, I called you quite often, Mike, because I
did,
couldn't
came over,
do much more. You
took
know, I
me
mean,
to dinner and paid.
and I did offer him if he couldn't get one, I'd back it up, right? Did I not
Right,
tell
we
you
don't know
that?
how it would be,
I'm not
but we
letting you
said-
die. If you can't go get one, I got you. And I did say that. You know, I'm not taking credit for it because I was happy that Mom stepped up.
Mom,
All right?
my girlfriend, yes.
Yeah, you had
A few people did
you
step
had
up.
you had a list of people.
Few
Yeah,
people.
yeah. But yeah, so because I mean, look, Mike's my friend. I'm not letting him go out, and that's the bottom line. Even today. So
So the podcast didn't seem like
Yeah.
it was going to come together,
No.
and by the time
I thought I was
Mike
going to die at that point.
no, wait. But then when he goes for all his workup, what
yeah.
happens, Mike?
So, I never had high cholesterol, never had anything like that. Go through the workup, do the cardiac. You got to do a full workup before they transplant you. Go through the full workup, do the cardiac part. Said they can't transplant you yet. You're not vaccinated. So I said, okay, I guess I got to get vaccinated. I go get vaccinated.
Meanwhile, you had 2 COVID outbreaks.
3.
3. Oh, sorry.
So I get vaccinated. I go back to Columbia Presbyterian, who made me get vaccinated. And they said, you ever have an angiogram? Because you did the stress test, you did the echo. Echo was good, the EKG was good. I said, no. Got to give you an angiogram. So I go in the day of the angiogram. I'm like, it's a little nervous, but I'm like, all right. They wheel me in. They're playing music. They're joking around. And it was like a movie. The music stopped, like out of nowhere. And everybody got serious. The guy goes, do you smoke? I said, no. Do I look like I smoke? He goes, oh, you don't smoke? And I watched his face. And it was like just, I was like, what's going on? He goes, the doctor's coming in. The doctor walks in. She looks at me. And these were her words. She goes, you have blockages. I said, oh my God, I don't want a stent. She taps me. She goes, you're not getting a stent. She goes, you're getting a quadruple bypass. I said, but oh my God, I don't want a quadruple bypass. She goes, oh well. And she walks out the room. And left me there crying. So my mother, tell my mother, my father was there with my girlfriend. He's eating pizza outside. He's like, stop screwing around. Mo, I was like, I'm serious. Because my father, he's like, can't be. Comes in.
Can't be, not you.
Yeah. So they tell me I need a quadruple bypass where you get sawed open. And we can't do it right now. You got to wait 2 weeks. We don't have any room on the chart. So they said, try not to do anything strenuous. So I went for a run. I went to the gym. I went to an Aerosmith concert. Pushed the limit. And got it 2 weeks after. And it was an experience out of my body. What I experienced, people don't believe.
Well, share it. I want to know because you told me something.
So they wheel me in, and I see a saw on the table. A little look like a sawzall. And I go, is that for me? And the guy's like, yes. I said, please knock me out. I'm gonna run out of here. Knock me out now.
Yeah, I don't want to.
And he's talking to me, and a funny story. I shouldn't even say, but he was a great anesthesiologist. Let me say that. So as the guy is working, they got to come talk to the anesthesiologist first. So the guy comes in. I'm seeing my dad there. My dad's like looking at this guy. He's like, and I just see my father's face, and I'm looking at the guy.
You have skateboard shorts on?
So then the guy leaves. He goes, what was that? I said, that's my anesthesiologist. He goes, oh man. He goes, that guy has better nails than a girl. He's like, and skin. He goes, is he a woman or a man? I don't know. I said, but I hope he just keeps me alive. I don't care.
What he does.
So now I go in there. They do the surgery, and what happens is, remember, I'm on dialysis still. They have to run a 24-hour dialysis during the surgery and to balance you in fluid levels. Jesus Christ. So I wake up from this, and I have something in my mouth. I have a tube in my throat. And if you try to breathe, it beeps. So I'm bucking the tube. It's called bucking the tube. So, and it's breathing for you. That's actually breathing for you. So that lasted about 8 to 12 hours I was on that tube. And it was like getting waterboarded. So they knocked me out. They gave me fentanyl. They knocked me out with fentanyl.
Right.
And during this time, which was odd, I kept on hearing him say, they give him presses, his pressure's dropping, give him presses again. Presses bring your pressure back up during the surgery.
Doing your legs?
So I'm like, all right, and I'm like, what's going on? I just felt like, I was like, I can't sit here for 8 hours. There's no way I could sit here for 8 hours in my head. And I'm like, I'm feeling weird, but I'm numb. And all of a sudden, this guy talks to me. He's with me. He's got brown hair. He's dirty. He says, you would not talk to me, he goes, in your life because of what you did for a living. He goes, you got to stop judging people. Right? The guy had blue eyes and brown hair, but he was disheveled, dirty looking.
Yeah.
So he stayed with me for a while. Then this other woman comes, this black lady, she comes. It looked like a woman from like the 1800s. She sat with me. I'm like, this is wild. But in my head, I'm like,
this isn't really happening.
What is this happening? Am I dead? I don't know what's going on.
It, yeah.
Maybe I'm dead. Yeah. I'm not scared. But
yeah.
And the weird thing is, you didn't talk, like speak. Everything was communicated through like your mind. There was no verbal.
No verbal.
Everything was mind.
But
I knew what you were saying, and I knew these people, but to this day, I don't know who they were. But I knew them as they were sitting there. And it was a bunch of them came. And then that went out. And then you go to step down. After that, I would step down, and the pain was excruciating. And it was a crazy experience. I mean, to this day, I just, I had to tell people, and some people were like, oh, it's the drugs. Maybe it was. Maybe it was the fentanyl they gave me. I don't know, because I never did drugs.
Right.
So, but there's definitely something more to it, because there's a whole bunch to it. When I came out of it, there was a name I remembered, which was odd. And I don't remember the name. My father didn't write it down. but I had told my dad, I think. And when I looked it up, it was like a guy from the 1800s that was a famous slave owner that died. I cannot remember the name to this day. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe that was it. It was just, the whole thing was odd. It sounds crazy, and I promise I'm not nuts, but it just, everything, if somebody would tell me this, I'd be like.
As someone, because we talked about sharing the death experiences and the near-death experiences, and that, there's a lot of literature, fiction, nonfiction, scientific in nature around, at a cellular level, what's happening in our brains, what some people in other, different kinds of religions believe in terms of what is happening between this reality and perhaps a larger reality that might be there. So I don't think it's crazy. Personally, obviously, we've talked about it a little bit before, but that the one message that you said, the first one, is pretty interesting, right? Because we're on Organized Minds right now, if we didn't know that, right? Around, you might not have talked to me before because of the work that you do, but I want you to maybe think about not judging people, because he was dirty, you said, and like sort of disheveled, and maybe look like someone who may or may not be somebody who you'd have to monitor to see, are they a danger to themselves or others, because that was your job.
Right.
So I think that's a real interesting takeaway as well. But either way, let's just say you went through it. You went through some stuff.
Yeah.
So you were not podcasting at the time.
No, it was taking a deep breath hurt. To be honest, and then they said that I couldn't get the transplant for a while. So I said, all right.
Because you had to heal up. Your heart
I said, I can't. My first dialysis session back, I mean, my heart flew through the roof, the heart rate. It was horrible. So I said, I got to do something. I got to get transplanted quick. So after about a week, I have a gym in my house. My mother's like, what are you doing? Because she was staying with me. I'm like, I'm going to try working out a little at a time. So I went in there, just did like little dumbbells. Then I had to bring me to the gym. Went on for 5 minutes. I said, what I've done throughout my life athletically, I know what I'm capable of, what I've done.
Right.
I said, I could get through this fast. And within 6 weeks, I was on the treadmill, I was working out, I was sore. And they said, all right, you're ready for a transplant. It was like 8 weeks later, I got transplanted. And the kidney surgery was nothing compared to that. It was, NYU was great. I switched over to NYU from Columbia for personal reasons. And NYU, NYU in the city.
Oh, you went to the city?
Yeah, NYU, and I mean, they got an amazing program. Dr. Berger, who did my surgery, Montgomery runs the program, and Dr. Gelb, who held my mom's hand into the surgery. Right. Those guys are the best at NYU. I could say, if you need a transplant, I mean, that's the place to go.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And Mike, you're an advocate now for transplant.
Yes, I try to help people. Because when you go through something, a doctor could read a book, they could study, but unless you've been through it, so I know every in and out of kidney disease, what you can do to mitigate some of the side effects, what to look for with doctors and hospitals, because unfortunately a lot of them are looking to make money, so you have to be very careful. I'm not saying all of them, but there's certain things that go on.
Surgeons need to cut people to make money.
Well, there's a few things. Let me tell you, there's a few things, and we'll delve into that. Another dialysis.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a big person on discrimination, right?
No.
Like when they say, oh, the cops discriminate against blacks, Hispanics, and all.
No.
I always say no.
Yeah.
I always say, no, that doesn't happen.
Right.
Place I notice discrimination, blacks, Hispanics, dialysis. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true, and I'll tell you why. When a person comes in not speaking English, first thing they want to throw is a fistula in their arm, or they don't have a translator, they scream louder.
Yeah.
To try to think, they scream.
You can't hear me, but if I scream, you'll hear me.
Yeah, they scream.
You can't understand me. Yeah.
Like a Spanish guy I work with. I tell him one time, all right, come over here. So I got a Spanish guy stopped for Dewey. I said, ask him how much he drank tonight, and then the SFST, we got to do it. We're going to form some tests. Yes, how much did you drink tonight? I said, no, in Spanish. He's like, wait, how much did you drink tonight? I said, do you speak Spanish? He goes, no, I only wrote it down on a thing. I thought I got points. He goes, I'm Puerto Rican, but I speak perfect English. I'm like, what the hell is this? Are you kidding me? But yeah, they do that in dialysis. It happens a lot. A lot of people want to do fistulas that don't need them right away, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, so that's your experience, and I would
Yes.
imagine that you're not one to judge anybody, Mike. I mean, look, you took me on.
Especially after that.
You took me on as a friend, and vice versa. So. The point of our show here today is to introduce you and me and why we're together, and Natanya producing this show, putting it together for us, giving us the platform to to share
Yeah.
our stories, our
Yeah.
experiences, and our take on our guests that'll be
Yes,
that'll be
who went
coming,
through things
and society, and I mean, there's like Mike and I had discussed before stepping in here. There's always a police story in the news to analyze if
Yes.
we want to. But that being said, we don't want to be just a police show. We want to be an everything show
show, yes.
overall.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
most of us have a mind.
Yeah.
Sometimes we use it in an
Sometimes-
organized way.
sometimes it's
and
organized,
it's in a
and sometimes
disorganized
it's
way.
disorganized.
We
Yeah.
I think, you both offer perspectives on what mainstream society or news, right? That four-letter word, calls good or bad, like we were talking about. Good, what is justice? So, like, we are going to talk about those things because they affect everyday lives. But like you said, I think the fact that your first day to be a guest with Mike was the day that we realized we were going to be shifting our direction, it just felt like the universe was saying, it's your time together. And so I just feel really grateful. And I didn't realize the backstory until that night, the day that you came to
Yes.
guest that night, when Mike was like, we always were planning a show. And I said,
Yeah.
what? How is I said, what are the chances he came on the day that we were shifting? So I just feel like this is very special. I know that's the corny part that all your listeners love hearing about. So we'll shift topic right now. I had a question, though, about something that maybe something you don't want to talk about, guys. And if not, we'll edit it out. When we were having lunch last month, you just happened to mention a casual story. They were shooting war stories or whatever, right? We were just sharing stuff. And you happened to mention a story about, we're not going to name names, but another officer that you were with who, it came out that he basically, there was a traffic stop or something, and he had a young woman's license. And you were like, why do you have her the woman said to you that he had the license.
Yes.
And so I was wondering if you could tell that story and then talk a little bit about, and I'm going to be the token lady, but that was a whole thing I didn't even know about. Like, there was a whole level of what we wound up talking about, and I don't think you guys talked about this yet.
Did I ever tell you the story? Probably.
I think did we talk about it on air or no?
No.
Okay, but we did briefly go over it, the guy with the licenses, and you had to stop him or
Yes.
something. Yeah.
So I worked with a guy, and he was a nice guy.
Right.
A very nice guy. And so...
In some capacity.
Some capacity.
Yes. Some people might think he's a creep.
So
Considering what you're about to say.
when I worked at night, I'd eat every 2 or 3 hours, especially when I was
Because you were
competing at the time.
You were
whatever.
competitive bodybuilder.
And so I'd pull into a lot to eat my food, and if I had to pee, I would pee after. So I pull into a lot, and I see a car all the way in the corner. I'm like, gotta get this car out of here. I didn't want to bother, but I just wanted them out of here. So I pull up to the car, and it's a girl. I'm like, what are you doing here? She says, I'm waiting for Officer so-and-so. And I'm like, for what? So I figured maybe it's his girlfriend. I don't know.
Yeah.
She was well,
Because that's not
right.
that wouldn't be abnormal.
He took my license. What do you mean he took your license? He stopped me. We were talking, and he took my license. He said, I'll meet him here. So I'm like, okay. I don't know about that. I said, you have your license on you? No, he took it. Well, that's a stupid question by me. Right? She didn't fall for my trick.
Yeah.
So what happens is I park in the corner of the lot, I eat my food. She stays there. I still got to see if she's telling the truth. What happens is a car pulls in about a half hour later.
Was it a patrol car?
Patrol car goes up. I watch for about 5 minutes, and then the girl pulls away. I pull in.
And you were in your patrol.
I was in my patrol car in the corner. He didn't
I'm
see
just-
me. So I pull up to him. I said, what's going on? He's like, nothing. I go, did you take that girl's license? He goes, oh, yeah, we hit it off. We were talking, but I think she has a boyfriend or something. I'm like, are you out of your mind? I'm like, listen, don't do that. I said, don't do it when I'm working, and please, whatever.
First of all,
he goes, I didn't do anything wrong.
Okay, first of all, let me ask you a question. What gave you the authority to say that to him?
Because I don't want to be dragged into some shit I got my own. I don't need to get dragged into your stuff. On top of it, and it's somebody's daughter.
Yeah, but
like, leave her alone. Don't be a stalker.
Mike, were you a more veteran? Were you a senior man to him?
We had the same amount of time on the job.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at.
Same amount of time.
Yeah, so you had
but
the
I
same
just
amount
don't
of
want to
time.
be involved in it.
Yeah, and so you felt that because it's not easy for another cop to check another cop.
Right.
It's just
Especially if you're not like a more senior.
yeah, correct. That's why I'm.
Well, too. You know what? You wouldn't like if your mom got. Well, my mom's young. My mom got stopped, and the guy wanted to whatever, or your daughter. I don't, you know.
No, I
So that's right, too.
agree that,
Right.
but I'm trying to lay the foundation.
Right.
But because a lot of cops would say, "What's this cop doing checking
Right,
another
right.
cop's
Yeah.
business?"
He knows why you care.
Well, you know what? I didn't do it in front of people. I did it with us.
Yeah, yeah.
That was
Right.
the end of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You
So I
thought.
thought.
I thought
You
you
thought.
thought.
So I'm like, all right. So now, you know, you have postcards. You're around the same post. Some lady owned this like little bar. She's like, oh, you know, I leave at 2:00. I'm a little worried. You guys just come by.
Yeah, that's
so
common.
we'd pass
That's
by,
common.
whatever. When she'd get out the register and she'd leave. That was it. She knew us.
Yeah.
You ever have a problem, you don't call us.
Come on and get a free beer.
give us a coffee or
Yeah,
whatever.
whatever.
So one night she calls, actually, it was me or one of the guys I was working with, the guy I worked with, and she's all frantic about this cop stopped her. So I'm like, what? Let me go down there. So I go down there. She's
So,
like,
so
yeah.
for people understand this, Mike, you're out there in the street and you're doing late shifts, right?
Yeah, I did 7 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Okay, so
Overnight.
what people have to understand is there's very little supervision on the roadway at that time of night.
You have two, usually had 2 riding supervisors. They scratched you.
Right.
You know, they were out there.
Yeah, they were out there, but how many patrol cars?
That precinct was turning out about 24, 25.
Okay, you got it. So there's 2 supervisors for 24 cars.
Right, and a
okay,
desk
Mike.
officer.
So when I know from my perspective as a patrolman, I didn't want shit going sideways in my zones either.
Right.
Because ultimately, I would either have to answer for it or I'd have to cover for it. I'd have to cover someone's
Right.
ass for something. So, as a responsible police officer, it's your duty to keep even cops that you're co-ranking,
Right.
equal ranking. You might pull them up for that purpose because
Right.
you really can't tell them what to do, but you certainly can tell them. Don't tread on my stuff because if it comes,
and
if
it's
what
not-
you're doing comes back on me,
Right.
you now affect everybody.
So, you know, we did crazy things.
Of course
but we
we did.
things within reason to each other.
Correct.
As cops, you know?
Correct.
To each other we bothered.
Right.
But so what happens is, getting back to her,
Yeah.
she called up in France to go over there. I said, it's probably nothing. She probably got a ticket. And she, but we can do about it. You got a ticket.
Yeah.
So she's like, no, I didn't get a ticket. I got stopped by this officer. Same officer, it turns out to be. So I'm like, oh, great. I said, did they give you a ticket? No. Did he take your license? No. All right, what are you complaining about? I let you go.
Yeah.
What were you doing? Well, I was speeding. Okay, there's no problem here. She goes, yeah, but when he went to take my license back, he grabbed my finger and he licked my finger. So I'm like, what? He licked your finger. She goes, yeah, it was odd. He was nice, but, you know, I felt uncomfortable. I said, okay, you should go make a complaint then, I guess. I don't know if you feel uncomfortable, if that's what happened. I didn't observe it, but I would go make a complaint. Told her how to make the complaint and everything.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know, you know, what's going on with this guy, but if you think, I don't really want to make a complaint. I said, it's up to you. This is how you do it. You know, do you want me to help you with it? She goes, no, let me think about it. I'm like, all right. I grab him again. I'm like, yo, you're licking fingers? So he's like, no, I know you're talking about it. I know
Yeah,
the lady.
okay.
She's crazy. She didn't lick a finger. Denies it. Listen, whatever. You know,
But you know he did it.
But me and
you
the other
know
guy
he
that
did
knew.
it.
She was just sort of like, it creeped her out.
we called him the finger licker after that. And he don't know why. Like,
Yeah,
finger
I don't
licker.
understand.
He was
Yeah.
a very nice guy. Did his job and all, but maybe he had a little, like, I don't know, some kind of issue. I don't know whatever happened, but that was it. And that was after that, I never really heard it. I just, you know, I didn't
Did
run
he
across any more
fade? Did
women.
he fade off into the woodwork?
He's
or-
still on the job, I think.
Oh my.
I think he's still out there. I mean, I don't keep contact with him.
I know.
think he's still there.
So you're going to have heard of this story. I think it was a Suffolk County cop who was a cop in the 7-5,
Mm-hmm.
and he used to pull the strippers over, leaving the night.
Was that the guy that made him walk home naked, Reich?
Yes.
Frank Reich.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Reich.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's not
Yes.
Freudian or anything.
Yeah, he would make them.
His
Yes,
last name
and he
was
would put
Wright?
had the headlights
Yep.
on them, and the whole.
I was on the job in Nassau when he did
Yes,
that.
you
And every
were.
time I pulled somebody over,
Yes.
especially a female,
Yeah.
and she was totally intoxicated, I go like, wow, are you going to make me strip naked?
Yeah.
No, I said, definitely not.
Yeah.
You know, but they would be like, oh, yeah, that was the famous line. I'm scared. I'm a female now. I was like, all right, I'll get another female here.
Yeah.
I'm still locking you up. You're
Yes.
not going in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that guy caused me a lot of grief.
That guy caused you a lot of grief.
grief, stopping women.
Yes. So, but yeah, so it's very real in all walks of life. There's all strange birds. Let's
Strange
just
birds,
say
yes.
the least.
Strange.
Okay, and while I don't think he was arrested.
No, because he didn't. You're talking about,
Right,
right?
yeah.
I don't know. I thought they did arrest him.
Maybe they did get arrested and just Spanked him like he wanted to be spanked from the beginning.
Maybe
That's
he was-
really all he wanted.
Yeah.
He was a little spanker.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe they put a dovetail in him.
Did you know him?
Yes, I know.
Oh.
Sparky. His name was Sparky.
Ah.
They used to call him Sparky.
Oh boy.
So guess what? I guess the lights were flashing back then. I don't know. Oh,
Suffolk hired him.
The other guy was in the 7.5 too. The chief out there, Burke.
Was he? I know.
Yeah, he was in the 7.5 for about a year or two or something.
I never met him.
Yeah.
I never came across him.
Bunch of strange birds.
No.
Yeah.
There's a lot of strange.
Who's your strange bird that's floating around over there now by you guys?
In Nassau?
Yeah.
Oh, you got a lot of strange.
Well, I
birds.
know that. I'm not talking about Richie, a good friend.
No, he's a good guy.
Richie's a good guy, just crazy.
He's getting crucified.
Yes.
Well, you got a whole upper echelon there. It's a problem, You got a lot of wackos. That you got a commissioner there that's basically, running the job his way he wants to do it, but he doesn't have equal punishment. That's my problem with it. If two guys commit an act,
Infraction.
an infraction or whatever, there's no equal punishment. If you go out and you say you're drunk driving and you crash and run away from the scene, and another guy maybe does something wrong on a transport or something else, you guys, because you're hooked in or you're in the pipe band or something.
Oh, the bagpipes you talk about. Yeah.
All of a sudden, we're getting.
I should have joined the bagpipes.
We're getting the same punishment.
I should have. If I joined the bagpipes,
That's my problem. We're getting the same
Could you
punishment.
imagine how good it would have been for me?
know?
I could have lasted another year or two.
It's just very, I love the job I worked on. I worked with a lot of good guys, but and unfortunately, you put somebody in charge that didn't belong in charge. That went from asset forfeiture as a sergeant to a commissioner. What does asset forfeiture do?
Takes people's money.
What does it do, Mike?
Takes people's money.
Now, you were in the game, right? In the 7.5,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. If you were in asset forfeiture, what would you do?
Oh boy, I'd take every Mercedes-Benz and gold chain.
All right. And what would you do with the money?
I'd be still sitting on it.
Would you help people out that could move you up?
Absolutely.
It just makes, I'm just saying, to go from sergeant to commissioner, what do you think?
That's
a big jump.
That's
So
unheard
you're-
of.
So you're saying, for the lay people out here, that essentially they had access to things that they could then parlay into favors.
Well, I just don't
I'll
think-
take you to dinner. I'll take to get you
She
some
put a guy in a
food.
spot as a commissioner that's been arrested for beating a suspect. You want to talk about it? We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
They got arrested for beating a suspect, and then nothing happened supposedly with that. Got arrested, I think it's outside of Giant Stadium, for intoxicated in the City
Intoxication.
Police Academy. Harassed a woman, that was slept under the rug, called her legs. I mean, a whole bunch of stuff you could say. This guy's still there, so it's a big problem. And every guy that went against him, he's went. We could bring in guests. Just put surveillance on.
Oh, I love
made their
this.
life miserable.
Oh, I like that.
So,
Yeah. If we can get a couple of guys to come in for
Oh,
that,
I'm
that
sure
would be
if
Well,
fun.
I mean,
interview,
that's what we're also dealing with too. We're dealing with there's some serious issues in this country, stereotypes, misinformation, what have you, and putting people in a box. I've said this before. We could do it about churches and priests.
Right.
You know what I mean? We could do it about
Right, every occupation
Every
has somebody
occupation has some people who abuse their power and their role and their power over either within the organization and the
An
community.
organization is only as powerful as what the head leader
Head.
is willing to tolerate.
Yes.
And they
Or
tolerates
condone,
different things
yeah.
from different people. You can't have a guy go out on meal, all right, solicit a hooker, get robbed by the pimp, and then you take, because his mother works in the office or something, this guy's working in PAL or working there? You got to be kidding me. And say, it didn't happen. Yeah, it happened. You could look, go to Lynbrook Police Department, ask them that night Lynbrook was working. So, I just get very pissed off because
Justice is supposed to be just.
And then don't come to me because I
It
locked
shouldn't
up a
be
cop's
just
mom.
us. It shouldn't be just us.
Right.
It should be justice for all. And by the way, that's one of my linchpins now, because I recognize my wrong ways and I accepted responsibility.
Right.
See, what people don't realize is that I accepted responsibility in 1992.
Right.
Actually 93, but 92. When I was arrested, I began to debrief for what I did at some point and plead guilty and chose not to testify against other police officers as a result of my whole.
Right. And people will say, Dowd gave up everybody. And I fight him on that, the same thing. Because you don't know the story.
No.
You watched a clip of something and you know everything.
Yeah, and I am like, no, people don't understand how the system works, but I'm not going to break it all down now. Long story short, on that end of it is, you can't take a plea if you don't tell them what you did Otherwise, they can come back at you with all those charges another day. So you have to say everything you did to allocute to outside in the prosecutor's office to take a plea to, let's just say, murder. You can't just plead to murder. You have to tell them you also robbed 6 banks. And basically, you don't have to say who you did it with, but you insinuate who you did it with, because they need to know that if they're getting information from other sources, that you're telling the truth. And that's how it works. And if they find out you're lying, they come back with you and get rid of the whole deal. Because the Fed's got omnipotent power, resources, and space. Believe it or not, they got a lot of space, okay? And they're willing to house you for the rest of your life if they need to.
And there's a lot of implications for, at least, well, from what you experienced, obviously, but like that's what makes problems in the whole idea of what is police, right? With the community, because they're like, well, it's kind of Machiavellian. It's like, we're in America, and it's sort of supposed to be neutral, right?
Well, the police have a tough job, right?
Yeah.
And the cops on
I
patrol.
couldn't be a cop today.
Cops on patrol, majority, 99% do their job. When these guys get removed from patrol and they start becoming lieutenants and chiefs and commissioners, they forget everything. Right. And the problem is what the job does, and Mike, agree or disagree with me, they have a set of rules in place, right?
Right. They're called patrol guide.
They're called patrol guide.
Yeah.
And when they want to go after a certain person, which this happens, or you go against them a certain way, you lock somebody up that shouldn't be locked up, they weaponize those rules
against you,
against those people, not other people. The rules are weaponized. Yeah. That's the problem.
So I did a show, and Natanya was there. I don't know if she was there. Now I can't remember. And I had a big panel of guys, and they were all cops, one fireman, whatever. And it was a good show. It was a little loud, a little cross-talking. And I said this. It's called a guide.
Right.
A guide. A guide is not the law. It's a guide to help you to stay within the parameters of what they'd like you to see you do. There's a time when you can throw out the guide, like when you get punched in the nose, what Tyson says. When you get punched in the nose, that plan changes, right? So that's when you become what they call discretionary.
Right. We had a department manual.
And discerning. Yeah, you had a manual.
The department manual.
I changed the patrol guide, I'm told. They added a whole new layer after me. Anyway, so people need to understand that policing is not a perfect world, because there's humans involved, and there ain't no perfect human being out here. No. So I think that this show is going to be dynamic, Mike. I mean,
it's going to be very controversial.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that. Especially after this.
Yeah, well, and the last host that you're replacing, he had a lot of experience, and he was pretty good. Mm-hmm. I would say, an accolade to him as far as what he could do. It just wasn't working out. I think he has other things going on. He has other interests and so on and so forth. But with Mike and Mike.
That's right.
Mike and Mike. I mean, isn't there a show on the radio, Mike and Mike, of sports?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a sports?
Mad Dog, yeah.
Mike and the Mad Dog. Is that right? Yeah, something like that. They were Mike and a Mike show. Yeah. So
there's one guy I pulled over was a sportscaster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but he said I forgot who the heavyset guy.
That was.
Who was the guy?
I know who you're talking about. The dark-haired guy. Yeah. The heavyset guy.
I didn't know him until he told me who he was. Then I went home and I looked. I didn't get him a ticket, but
yeah.
Different than the hockey player.
Yeah.
The hockey player pulled over.
Did you? You got?
I didn't know. I pulled this guy over again. I'm shooting radar, looking for a drunk. This guy speeding, and this is good. So I pull the guy over.
Was he an Islander? Was he an Islander?
I don't watch hockey. Yeah. So I pull this guy over. I'm like, "You're speeding," He's like, "Oh yeah." He gives me some license, but it was like a foreign license
from Canada. Or
I'm like, "What is this?" So I'm looking. So like, where you live? He lived up to Old Brookville somewhere. So I'm like, "Well, you gotta slow down." I'm like, "He's wet and his eyes are like bloodshot." You drink anything tonight? He's like, "No." He goes, "I swear you come from playing hockey." I said, "Oh, I'm playing hockey." So I'm looking at the thing. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I wasn't going that fast." I said, "Yeah, you were going fast. Whatever he was doing, he was going." So I said, "You play? What do you do for a living?" I says, So you see this guy. He goes, I come from playing hockey. I said, "All right, listen." I said, "Maybe he's drunk." I said, "Hockey's a kid sport. What do you do?" He goes, "I play hockey." I'm like, "Whatever." So I look at his name. I make the entry. Yeah, have a good night. 2 days later, I'm like,
you're watching
the guy at work was like, "Oh, hey, I heard there's a hockey player lives up in Brookville." He said that somebody like robbed his house or something. I'm like, "What's his name?" I said, I pulled him over the other night. He said, I love that guy. He played for the Rangers or Islanders.
Yeah.
He goes, what happened? So I tell the guy the story. He goes, oh, man, you're a moron. He's like, what do I care? He goes, maybe you can have free tickets. I don't know. I just playing hockey. Give a shit and I left.
It wasn't Dennis Potvin, was it?
No, I don't know. I don't even know who it was. I don't really
I did Dennis Potvin. Dennis Potvin lives in Old Brook.
Somebody lived in Old Brook. I don't know.
He
was French, Canadian.
I don't know. I don't think Potvin is. I don't know. But he's been here so long. He wouldn't. Yeah, no. I did his pool table, Dennis Potvin. Funny story. So back then it was the Rangers Islanders for death. Mm-hmm. It was a death match. Everything. It was blood everywhere. And so
everywhere.
we were young teeth, blood, everything. So we're young guys, and my father. We had a pool table business. If you see a pool table on Long Island, we installed it.
Was it a legit pool table?
Legit, yeah. If you see a pool table on Long Island, it's a good chance that we installed it. So we happened to get a job, and it's Dennis Potvin, Upper Brookville, Old Brookville, whatever it was. So we get into his house, we're putting the pool table in. I don't think he was there. I can't remember. I would have remembered if I met him. So I don't think he was there. One of his servants, And they have servants. And we go into his living room. And the pool table could have fit in the fireplace. Okay, that's how big this guy's fireplace was in his living room. All right, I'm looking at this guy's fireplace. I'm saying this pool table could fit in there, and I'm underneath the pool table, and it was like 19. If I said 78, 79, 80, I was a young guy still, so I wasn't in the police department. Mm-hmm. And the Rangers and Islanders were going head to head every year. And the Islanders kept winning damn Stanley Cups, And the Rangers were an old school team, and they couldn't beat the Islanders for the Stanley Cup. So I'm under the pool table. And I'm writing, let's go Rangers. It was the playoff season, whatever it was. Let's go Rangers. Underneath the pool table in Dennis Potvin's house. So how you feel about that, Dennis Potvin, right now? Huh?
Where's he now?
I don't know. He's
a big podcast.
He's a big dude.
Maybe he does the pool table.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the guy who pulled over. He's the guy who pulled over plus the pool table. We'll have him right in the middle.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
That'd be fun. Hey, Dennis, if you're still running around, I don't know.
And I didn't write you a ticket.
You were doing mischief even back then, just like
a
a little bit.
Little something.
Who even saw that? The kids maybe who go underneath.
Yeah, underneath the table.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! They probably got in trouble for it.
So, yeah. So, anything else we got to get out there before we wrap?
We really just wanted to celebrate a homecoming, if you will, maybe.
Yeah.
And for you guys to finally be on your way to kick off the Mike and Mike show that you were trying to do, but life got in the way. And that's really what today is. And then we're going to be talking to all different kinds of people over the next couple weeks. And we're excited about that. And I will leave you guys to your machinations. But I'm so glad you're here with us, Mike. And that you're doing well and you're feeling good. And that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
And will you machinating for the machinators?
Machinators.
Yeah.
And you got a big Mac dog coming in soon, don't you?
A Mac dog?
Yeah.
Oh, he means your guest.
All right, we're going to wrap it here, Mike, unless you got anything else you need to spit out right now.
I got a lot to spit out. Don't worry, it's going to be a lot of...
We can spit out over this. We can spit it over time. So thanks for joining us today, and catch us on all your social media sites. And remember, Organized Minds, and thanks for joining us.
All right.
Bye-bye.